Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Friends, before going into the details of the war, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell. Please support by subscribing and turning on the notification bell. We are a strong community. Russia rejoins Ukraine grain deal after suspending participation. Russia agreed Wednesday to resume its participation in a deal brokered by Turkey and the UN to keep grain and other commodities moving out of Ukraine's ports during Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Turkey's president said. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu informed Turkish Defense Minister Hulusi Akar that the deal for a humanitarian grain corridor would continue in the same way as before, as of noon Wednesday. Erdogan said the renewed deal would prioritize shipments to African nations, including Somalia, Djibouti and Sudan, in line with Russia's concerns that most of the grain exported since the agreement's first was reached in July was ending up in richer nations. The Russian Defense Ministry said Russia agreed to continue carrying out its role in the deal after receiving written guarantees from Kyiv that Ukraine would not use the sea corridor for military actions against Moscow, according to a statement by the Russian Defense Ministry. Russia suspended its participation in the grain deal over the weekend, citing allegations of a Ukrainian drone attack against its Black Sea fleet. The Russian Defense Ministry said Monday that ship traffic from ports in southern Ukraine was halted, calling the movement unacceptable. The Defense Ministry said Wednesday that Ukraine had formally committed to using the safe shipping corridors through the Black Sea, exclusively in accordance with the stipulations of the Black Sea Initiative, a reference to the separate UN and Turkey-backed agreements signed by Moscow and Kyiv on July 22. Ships loaded with grain departed Ukraine on Tuesday despite Russia suspending its participation in the UN-brokered deal, which aimed to ensure safe passage of critical food supplies meant for parts of the world struggling with hunger. But the United Nations had said vessels would not move Wednesday, raising concerns about future shipments. The United Nations and Turkey brokered separate deals with Russia and Ukraine in July to ensure Africa, the Middle East and parts of Asia would receive grain and other food from the Black Sea region during Russia's war in Ukraine. Drone attack in Sevastopol. Satellite images of the aftermath appeared. The first satellite images of Sevastopol Bay have appeared after the drone attack on Russian warships of the Black Sea Fleet of the Russian Federation. The photo was released by OSINT analyst Benjamin Pittet on his Twitter account. The pictures were taken on November 1 at 5:35 and 11:06 UTC show the two Admiral Grigorovich-class frigates currently deployed in the Black Sea, being moored in port. In 5 hours, this ship ended up near the mooring wall of Streletsky Bay in Sevastopol. It is possible that the photo captured the movement of the Admiral Makarov frigate. The nature of the alleged damage from the drone attack cannot be established from the photo. As previously reported, the released on October 29 video shows how a surface drone attacked the 11356R Project Admiral Makarov frigate, which had become the actual flagship of the Russian Black Sea Fleet after the sinking of the Moskva missile cruiser. The Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation did not confirm the damage to this particular ship, but acknowledged the damage to the Ivan Golubets minesweeper. As previously reported, on October 29, unmanned surface vehicles and unmanned aerial vehicles attacked ships located in the Sevastopol Bay. How does Russia deny the existence of Ukraine? Denying the existence of Ukraine as a nation and state is one of the key strategic narratives of Russian propaganda. There is the world the way we know it. There are states on the political map. There are internationally recognized borders, numerous ethnicities within these borders and various languages. We take this for granted. However, it turns out that one state can deny the existence of another state with its people, language, history and culture as if it were all fake. Denying the existence of Ukraine as a nation and state is one of the key strategic narratives of Russian propaganda, as well as one of the most dangerous ones. It is not only part of the basis upon which Russia built up the informational grounds for its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, but it fuels further hatred, violence, and atrocities by Russians. This narrative is used to justify the logic that if Ukraine appeared on the map accidentally, and Ukrainians objectively don't exist, then it is necessary to liberate them from this unviable concept of Ukraine-ness by exterminating them. This strategic narrative isn't new. It started circulating long before the full-scale invasion and even before the beginning of Russian aggression in 2014. Even back in 2009, Vladimir Putin, as the Prime Minister of Russia, claimed that relations between Big Russia and Malorussia, Little Russia, Ukraine have always been exclusively Russian business. What does this statement mean? Even though it didn't sound very aggressive at the time, it made clear that even 13 years ago, Russia's leader discounted Ukrainian identity and tied Ukraine's history to Russia's. It pressed forward the notion of Malorussia, reconceptualized as a territory subordinate to Russia. Hence, the image of Ukrainians not as a people of a separate ethnicity, but an inferior, Malorussians, settled in the Russian collective consciousness. This concept has become a mile marker in the further development of the narrative, becoming more aggressive and alienated from real history. One of the essential components of the Russian strategy to deny the existence of Ukraine is the reinvention of its history to make Ukraine's existence look like a historical mistake. Russian propaganda presents Ukraine as an accident of history which doesn't have historical grounds for its statehood. Thus, Russian President Putin claimed that Ukraine was a result of a series of mistakes made by Soviet leaders. Russia ignores the historical context Ukrainian identity was formed in, statehood tradition from Kiev Rus to Cossack times, and its modern conceptualization and realization in the beginning of 20th century with the Ukrainian People's Republic, and thereby claims that the idea of Ukrainian statehood never existed in any organic capacity. According to them, before 1991 Ukraine was a part of a common state with Russia, and it is only Russian history which traces back to the times of Kiev Rus. The Russian state existed, and it began from Kiev Rus. It was there that the Russian people were baptized, and Kiev became a center, having united the Russian principalities around itself. In this way, they are dragging Kiev into the Russian historical and cultural space. What, then, is to be done with facts that prove the existence of Ukrainian history? The strategy Russia has chosen is to reconceptualize this history by manipulating facts and dressing them with a layer of lies. A new story was thus invented in which after the partition of Poland, the western ends of the Russian world, Ruski Mir, fell under the Austrian crown. In order not to let the population of those territories, who, according to Russian propagandists, really ethnically Russian, gravitate towards Russia, the Austrians decided to invent an alternate identity, Ukrainian. This, they say, is how the idea to create Ukrainian history was born. It is the answer to the question of how to make Ukrainians out of Russians. It's necessary to write the history of Ukraine for them. Russian propaganda has paid special attention to one of the most monumental historical works of Ukrainian history, Mikhailo Hrushevsky's History of Ukraine Rus, 1898. In Russia's distorted perception, Hrushevsky was paid by Austrians to make up the history of a whole nation. Hrushevsky did this on the order of the Austro-Hungarians, who wanted to rid Galicia and Volhynia, which then belonged to them, of Russian influence. With help from the Austro-Hungarian government, he created these fairy tales for his main work, History of Ukraine Rus. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.